Okay, so the Russian tie, I'm going to not do the glasses, is a position. Just, you can come on in the middle where you want.
Effort dog for ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, video. Put it over here so I can face everybody. If you don't mind. Okay. So the Russian tie is a position of gripping where you have control on your opponent's arm here, and the tie is that I'm tying up his arm. The reason it's the Russian tie is you see that a lot of Russian wrestlers, this is the base of the game, where you see more American wrestlers have this sort of more inside grips game, like this thing. The Russians will work to kind of this position. So I'm going to talk about some of the principles of it, and then we're gonna get our partner and feel it. So when it comes to my hands, I want to control one really nice and tight in the bicep. And the other one, I'm going to control at Professor Lane's wrist. And we're going to go with kind of the textbook version. You'll see other grips, okay? Takedown stuff has lots of variations, but we're going to do this one. So both grips are palm up. I'm hugging Professor Lane's arm really tight to my chest. And I want to keep his elbow pinned to my chest. I'm not loose. I'm not like this. That's really not where I want to be. I want to be nice and tight. With both his elbow and his wrist to my chest. Other thing, we really want to drive with our shoulder pressure down. This is really what prevents him from being able to come back into me and defend the position. Also with my head, I really want inside head position. I don't want him to be able to put his head inside so that I can't come in and do stuff. So the ideal position here is that I have a really tight hug, controlling the shoulder, the arm, head inside. And I think you'll see on the page, the last point I want to make on this is called own the arm. So this is really important for the Russian tie. This is not something where I can just kind of hold him and whatever.
No.
Okay, yeah. So I really, when you get to this position, you have to squeeze it tight and not let it go. You have to think like a wrestler who's, once they get a hold of it, they're not letting go. So we're going to grab a partner and we're going to practice, just get the position, feel the important points, and then just do a little bit of moving around. Just get a feel for holding on to it. Your partner may move around, and you want to stay close, nice and tight. So why don't you grab a partner, try to find somebody roughly your size, so you can think about this in the competition aspect too, as best you can. And we're not going to spend too long on gi and no gi. So that's a really cool point that this isn't just for the gi. You can use it in either. When you have the gi on, there's a few little extra things you can do, but really this works for both. So we're going to do this from the collar tie, over the neck. I have seen this personally in a lot of tournaments. Guys do this. They see this somewhere and they don't really know why they're doing this, but they can hang on to the neck. And that's how you use it effectively to shoot in off of, but it's a really common position that you want to, you might want to get to the Russian platform. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you the move first. Some of you already did it. It looks quite simple, and it is. And it's really powerful, but what we're going to be doing is this move to get into the Russian tie. So what's really important here is that it's not so much about what my arms are doing, but it's about what my shoulders and neck are doing. So what I want to do to clear this off of my neck, which sometimes has a lot of weight on it, is I want to shrug my shoulders up and then turn out. It'll help to strip that hand off of your neck. So when we get with our partners, even before you use your hands, I want you to practice shrugging and turning. Because if you don't have that, you're just trying to use your arms, it's going to be hard. If I don't shrug and turn, I can pull all day, and it's just going to slip maybe, but it's not going to work very, very well. If I use my arms with the shoulder, it's going to be nice and smooth. So when it comes to the arms, it's quite simple. You're going to use your hand that's on the same side as this arm under the elbow to hold it. And this is the arm that's really going to do more of the work. You're going to reach across and grab the wrist. And then as you turn, that will slide right onto your chest. And you can work to get that nice head position. One more time. A common mistake would be just not to use your shoulders. Okay? So we're gonna do that one first. Practice with your partners. Just doing the shoulders stripping the grip off, and then work your arms in. Okay? That's with the collar tie, works gi or no gi. The next one we're going to do is from the really common collar grip that you'll get jiu-jitsu, judo style, where the first one I'm going to do is lower. So I'm just going to do it once here. Okay, so it's a grip strip, and then pass the arm across. So in this place, Professor Lane is grabbing just a bit more in the middle of my collar, not so much up on my neck. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our gi just underneath Professor Lane's hand, just to take the slack out, just to get a little tension on my gi so it's nice and tight. Then this hand's going to come across and grab the wrist. I personally like to do this kind of pistol grip before I pop it off, but you could do it with just with your hand if it's better for you. So I like this pistol grip. There's lots of tension on the gi, and then what I'm going to do is punch my arm out and hold this gi nice and tight. If I don't hold the gi, what happens is this doesn't strip out. That's the reason we're holding the gi on the bottom, is to keep the tension out so that it rips Professor Lane's hand out. So from that point, boom, I strip off the grip, and it's nice and got this wrist. All I do is pull it across my body and grab the position. Last time. Keep the tension out, and grab the Russian tie. I'm going to show one other gi grip strip before we break to our partners. We'll try it. Sometimes you get the opponent grabbing a little higher on your neck, and maybe it's hard to, it's really high up with your arms, and you don't want to feel like you're exposing your lower body for other takedowns. In this case, you can also just use a really simple grip strip with the two hands, where you pop down and push up, and it's really simple to grab the Russian tie from there. One more time, they're grabbing up high on the collar. And one point here, just like how I took the tension out with this hand, sometimes I like to get it a little bit tense before I try to break it, versus just coming here and going like this, and that moves around. So it's here. So two jiu-jitsu collar grip strips, and then grabbing the Russian tie. Any quick questions? You want to give it a shot?
No.
Let's give it a shot. Okay. And then we'll do some takedowns. I'm going to show one setup, and then a takedown, and we'll jump into it because it's a simple setup. One detail about the last one before we move on. I saw a couple people grab with the wrong hand and then figure out it doesn't work. But you want to grip the collar with the same side as Professor Lane's grabbing on. So that way I'm punching the outside. Another thing, some people were finding like their hands got funny when they pass through. When I pull, I like to pull it with my elbow low, so that it comes in and breaks the tie. Two more things about the gi grips. Sometimes guys grab your collar here, and you might want to do this, but you can't. Some guys just have really strong grips, right? It's hard to break. There's no reason that you can't do the Russian tie with their hand inside, and you see this in Sambo a lot. I'm not going to do it in the seminar, but what happens is the wrist gets really cranked into a wrist lock position, and it really sucks for the uki, the person being gemoed on or thrown. But you can do the same thing where maybe if you don't find you can strip it, just pull yourself into it. It's a little bit different where their elbow is bent, but you can do the Russian tie from here. We're not going to do it in the seminar today, but just beware, you might not have to strip the grip, but it sucks for the person whose wrist is caught. We covered a same side collar grab. If you have somebody ever grabbing across your body, you're already set up. It's just too easy. You can grab the Russian tie. So if somebody ever reaches across your body like this, you can just set this up super easy. So I'm not even going to cover a setup for that, because you can just grab it. It's just that simple. So just be aware of that when you're gripping, you don't want to reach across like that. Last one, what if they're not grabbing? This happens at the West End. Guys like, oh, I know, as soon as I put my hand on his neck, he's just going to try to tie me up. So they're like playing that outside game. You can still set this up from there. They don't need to grab your collar or neck. You're just going to have to pass it across. So what I like to do is just try to get a wrist grab of some kind, and then just pull myself to get that bicep grip, and then switch my other hand. Really simple. You can imagine 1,000 variations of how the hands go where you're doing this. Nice thing is you don't need to learn a complex set of gripping. You're just looking to always work your way to that arm where maybe it gets funny, but I work my way in. That's okay. So when we break, you can just try from an open grip, like cross-grabbing the wrist and pulling in, just like an arm grab, and then switching this hand. If you want, you can use other grips like this one, but I really prefer the hugging grip. So we're going to get ready to take down. The good stuff is, some of you saw it right away. We'll just go each time for maybe a collar tie. So the easiest takedown, you've seen it already, is the single leg is right here. And I'm going to show how I like to do it. But there's multiple ways you can finish and set up the single leg. So how I like to do it is to drop down and grab the single leg, and then if you've never done a single leg, you step out and back. Today with this big group, we're not going to do the pull and spin, because we'll all be smacking heads as we spin around. You can easily practice how to finish the single leg another day. That's not what the seminar is about. But what we're going to do is set up the single leg. So I like to just drop down with just like a shot with my front leg, grab my opponent's leg with this nice grip, and up. And pinch your knees and get your head really inside battering ram style. And last point is your opponent's arm is going to be caught in here, and that's just great. It really means that when you go to take them down, their arm is trapped. They really have nothing to stop you. One more time on that one. Here, in, scooping up the single leg. We'll go from here. Other variations you might consider trying if you like them. Nothing wrong with doing a single leg where maybe some people like to scoop this up and they don't like to drop down. No problem. So if that's your preferred variation, feel free to give that a shot. So just to recap, cross gripping, drag just like an arm drag to that Russian tie, and once we're in the Russian tie, dropping in, grab that single, and go from there. So next we're going to cover two moves and then we're going to try them. A back take and one that I'm calling the knee tap. So you really see this in wrestling a lot. Guys go to take the back. And what we're doing in this case is I like to hit this when my opponent's foot is a little further back because he doesn't have base in this area. So I'm going to do the move once and then we'll talk about it. Really simple back take. That's why we're going to hit two moves in a row. But compared to wrestling, like in jiu-jitsu, taking the back is such a dominant position that if you have the opportunity to take the back, even though it's not the flashy move, you want to go to the back. So I got the head position. If Professor Lang's foot's a little back, it really means he has no base in this area. What I want to do is I want to turn my knee down, and I'm going to do like a shoveling motion. So I'm coming here, driving down a lot with my shoulder, and then we can just take the back. I'm not going to cover any further from the back position, but I'm sure you all have lots of your favorite attacks from there. Some people like to do other versions of how to get to the back where they arm drag their way and stuff. That's fine too. No doubt there's all kinds of variations. I'm showing you my favorites. Another one we're going to do, actually I'm going to add one more detail to the back take, which is maybe you want to do the back take, but his foot's a little more in your space. You can clear it out just with a mule kick to clear that space, and then you hit the back kick. So maybe his foot's not back, but you want to make it happen, no problem. And that mule kick, that kick back, is something that you can use to set up a lot of your takedowns with the Russian tie. Okay, one more. Now in this time, I'm going to do one where instead of his feet are back, his feet are a little more forward. And what we're doing is called the knee tap. Another really simple move, but the Russian tie puts you nice and in close, so you don't need to, like an open takedown, close the distance. I'm right there. Why wouldn't I do it? So the knee tap is one where his feet are maybe forward. What I want to do is come in with my knee, just like that self-defense, guillotine defense. Your knee tap and come down to the side. We're doing really the exact same move. So let's step forward just a little close to the wall. I like to knee tap, come to my side, and then right away, come up into side control. You will see other variations where people like to maybe just sweep the foot and drop back, or they'll show the leg with more of a hook versus a knee tap. Also, valid, variations that you might like, but for me, I like the knee tap because it really takes out my opponent's base from here. And you really surprise people when you put the pressure on, they put their weight forward, and then you just come back and drop them. A lot of times they don't see it going. So, just recap before we give it a shot. 2 moves, shovel, you take it back, and feet forward, knee tap, you come on top. Guys. Okay, so we're going to do that kick, mule kick and an ankle kick. Mule kick and ankle kick. Okay, so from the Russian tie, if Professor Lane's foot's in the way, I can do just like before and kick out and really put his weight back and on his foot. And then, without putting my foot down, I want to step, and I'm going to try to keep you midair. I want to step with my heel just behind his foot and hook with my toes. That way he can't slip his foot out. So I'm going to step back. Thanks for pausing midair. This is very gymnastic. If the foot's already back, that's okay. I can just go right for the ankle pick. And I'm going to lean forward, grab the ankle, and come up. I'm not going to cover passing from this position. You can do all kinds of things. One more time, this time with the mule kick. Maybe the foot's here. Maybe common problems might be that his leg is in the way. If you don't kick, you can't get through to the ankle pick. It's not going to happen. So you really need to kick that leg out of the way so that he's back with his weight on his foot. And you're really just tipping him over the edge when you pick the ankle. So grab a partner and give that shot, guys. Some people aren't moving forward, and this is a position where I need to be moving forward to make it happen. I can't just be kind of standing without moving forward. So what's happening for some people is they're going like this, and then when they go to hook this, they don't have much forward momentum, and they're not pushing the person forward. Second detail is really in the same line, but I like to slam this foot to the ground, and the shin can connect with Professor Lane's shin as we come through. I'll try to do it slow.
I'll try to stand up.
Yeah. So when I kick back, I slam here, and this shin can come forward as I move forward, and that can sometimes help to tip the guy over, the guy or lady over. Last time. Okay, so grab your partner if you have trouble with it. Just try to hit a couple. This order as well. We're going to do my favorite throw. It's super effective, sacrifice throw. This is my number one off the Russian tie. There's different variations. I'm going to show you my favorite. So really for this move, I don't need anything special out of the key in terms of the partner, in terms of setting it up. You can really hit it from wherever. And what I want to do, I'm just going to show you once, we'll just turn a bit for room. That was sort of the slow, broken up version to show 2 stages, the kick through and the coming on top for the side control. One more time, a little more real speed. So this is really my favorite variation of the sacrifice throw. Though you can find different other ones that I can show later, but we're going to stick to this textbook one. So really what I want to do here is step forward with my outside leg, and then come in, hooking in Professor Lane's just under his knee, under his leg, with the side that's near him. It's going to feel a little different than what you might be used to with kind of elevator sweeps where you're hooking on the same side. This one we're coming across the body. It's just a little bit different. So pay attention to that if you're trying to figure out which leg to hook. It's the one closest to your partner. I'm just trying to bit for these guys. So in this case, I'm holding really tight, rolling back, kicking up, and then as soon as you can, don't let the space happen. Turn and come up on top. Now, this is one extra, one thing we can do with the gi, I'm not going to add a lot of gi details today, but one thing I really like is to reach to the back and grab the gi here. You can do this with the Russian tie in a lot of positions. And sometimes it wouldn't necessarily help you maybe for the single leg, but in this case, what happens is I have lots of pull to pull the person over when they're being stubborn. And because you're pulling their weight back, you might find that helps you a lot. One last thing, sometimes when I try to do the throw, I might fail and end up almost like in a butterfly guard if you sit on it. What happens now when I have this belt grip is it is so powerful to pull the partner over you and finish the move. So that's why it's really nice with the belt grip with the gi, is even if you kind of botch it, you can still get that sweep and end up on top, which is really cool. So grab your partner, hit this variation. If you know some other sacrifice throws you want to do, that's cool too, but this is my favorite. Pose. Right.
Mind in the space, guys.
Yeah. Next one we're going to do is one that counters a defense you'll see often in jiu-jitsu. So maybe in a sport like wrestling, people might be more comfortable turning their back because it's more of a neutral position or something, where in jiu-jitsu, people are really against you getting to your back. So what they do is they turn into you just like Professor Lane is right here. They square up. And a lot of times they'll push on your head. Maybe they'll grab your arm, push on your face, do all kinds of things. Yeah, but we'll go with the head push for now. I'm going to turn maybe 20 degrees just so people can see. And what we're going to do from here is a double leg. And I just want you to pause. We're not going to go flying around the gym with a double leg. You've all, 95% of you have done a double leg. So we're not going to go further with it from there. I'll do it for demonstration's sake. You weren't ready for it, my bad. But
It worked.
yeah, it works, right? So from the Russian tie, when they square up and push on your head, you're going to reach through with this hand and just pop under the elbow. Sometimes maybe this elbow's a little lower, so you have to push under it to get through. And in terms of your feet, you're here. This leg, if it's close, you can just do that penetration step where your knee comes down. If maybe their feet are just a few inches further back, you might need to take a step and then drop in. And from here, do your favorite finish, whether it's standing up or turning or something. Not today, but when you actually do the move. One more time with the takedown. Okay, give it a shot, guys. In order to move on to the other topic and finish in a timely manner, I'm going to demonstrate the other ones that are on your sheet. You'll see them on the bottom. And then if you have one off that list you really like, I can show you the details after. Chris is going to just to say them so I can remember them. So we're just going to show you maybe 7 or 8 other setups. Maybe we'll do each one once or twice, once for time's sake. So for the Russian tie, first one I think is the fireman's carry. Is that right, Chris?
Yeah.
So in this one, I'm coming under, dropping my hip, tossing, doing up the side control. A nice takedown when they leave you some space in the back and the hip side.
Inside trip.
Inside trip is one where their foot might end up a little bit behind you. Tucking my foot behind the opponent's knee and dropping the knee around.
Knee pick.
Knee pick is one where maybe I'm getting really low and I'm just going to come across. and drive. Just sort of like a last double leg, but coming sideways. It's really hard for somebody to stop you sideways.
D-bar.
Knee-bar. Sometimes your opponent's knee might be right to your foot right between your legs. You can just roll and hit that knee-bar nice and easy.
Draw some
Another nice one in the vein of judo, but we don't have to do it. A big setup is the drop side agi.
Soto guard.
The near side of Sotogari, not the one that destroys people. I can just come through. You've all seen that before. Scissor setup from a new position. Scissor takedown. Illegal, but you still might want to do it. Illegal because the knees can get wrecked. Set up things that are also illegal for everybody like your legs. Except when you go to the nogi.
Flying armbar.
Flying armbar. Just go to head grip. Flying armbar, really nice surprise takedown. Nice thing, Russian tie gets you close, and his arm is all yours. So that's one nice place to set up the flying armbar.
Lateral drop.
Lateral drop. Another one of my favorites. If my opponent's pushing into me, then pushing back, I can just take away that base and take him to the ground. Another really nice, simple takedown. So, if one of those is your favorite, and you want to see how to set it up in the Russian tie, build the video, you can watch it, or just ask me anytime. So.